ANC President Cyril Ramaphosa is leading the party's campaign in KwaZulu-Natal. Let's rope in our reporter now, Samkele Maseko, has been following the president. Samkele, a very good afternoon to you. Look, it's day 3 of the president's campaign trail in KZN, KwaZulu-Natal to be precise today. Another fairly remote area. Talk to us about how the reception has been to the ANC being in that area, and what are residents looking forward to highlight as their biggest challenges to the ANC president when he arrives.
The ANC president was received very warmly by Inkosi Ngolosi here in Isizwe Sakwa Ngolosi, in this specific area where ANC members and supporters had gathered to listen to their president on the campaign trail, which is on the outskirts of the eThekwini Metro municipality. Residents here are faced with issues of dilapidating infrastructure, such as huge potholes on the roads, and also it's a largely rural part of the eThekwini municipality metro, as my colleague Chulo Monare will show you just behind us. It's a very largely rural area with it is engulfed by this particular dam that is in behind our scenery here. But people are faced with poverty, unemployment, underdevelopment in this specific area. The president of the ANC, alongside the regional secretary Musa Ngigi and also Sboniso Tuma, the provincial chairperson of the ANC, essentially speaking of how this is a stronghold of the African National Congress, and they generally, within this specific ward, get about 60 to 70% of the votes of the community members in this area. The president of the ANC essentially saying that he is now giving them a task of exceeding that 70% that they usually get, and they must go on to get 85% in this specific ward, as it is seen as the home of the African National Congress. But community members and Inkosi Ngolosi raising issues of employment, raising issues of electricity, raising issues that they don't perpetually have disruptions on water supply, but their main issue is the persistent load shedding. The president of the ANC saying that the issue of the uninterrupted electricity supply in the country currently is not an elections ploy by the governing party.
Samkele, just as a side note, look, I also wanted to get an update in regards to the current tension between the provincial ANC structures and the Zulu monarch, seeing the president is currently in KZN. Do you know if he will be making a courtesy visit to the monarch? We know that the king is pretty influential amongst his subjects, even though traditional leaders have been cautioned against being too involved in politics, particularly during this time of elections.
Just a case and example, Inkosi Ngolosi, when he was speaking in the gathering next to the president, he was very specific not to say Viva. He was very specific not to mention any political organization, but he did say that his people in this area predominantly vote for the African National Congress. Even the president of the ANC clearly said that the traditional leaders must not show any political allegiance, as they are overarching and overlooking all of the political players within their specific areas, and must not openly choose any political formation. We don't know as yet whether the president of the ANC will have any courtesy visit to Mrs. Zulu KwaZulu-Natal, who is the king of the Zulu nation. What we do know is that he has a jam-packed political program today. He will, as he has left here in KwaZulu-Natal, be going to Hammarsdale, which is another stronghold of the African National Congress, particularly if you look at the historical context of Hammarsdale and the wars between the ANC and the IFP within that specific area, and the late Meshek Khatebe, who was a strong man of the African National Congress, who lived in the area, who died amongst his people in his later years. And that shows you of the rich political history and heritage that the area of Hammarsdale, particularly KwaMxoli, has had in the life and times of the African National Congress. You remember individuals such as Spiwe Mvuyane of the IFP, allegedly, and the things that he is accused of doing to those who were perceivedly members of the African National Congress, and vice versa, those who are members of the ANC. Hammarsdale has remained a stronghold of the African National Congress, and the president of the ANC is headed there now to campaign. But on the issues of traditional leadership and going to ukuyokota ingonyama uMsizulu kaZwelithini, it's not yet in the program of the president of the African National Congress at this point in time. It is a full-on campaign in the province of KwaZulu-Natal, where he will come back in 2 weeks' time to further his campaign in this province.
And judging by, the recent visits to the remote as well as far-flung rural areas, Samkele, by the ANC president, how have the communities received the ANC? And, does it show a strong support for the team as we head to the May 29 elections?
What we are seeing is that the ANC is going back to its rural constituency. They are, in a way, trying to demystify that their presidents are largely suburban people who campaign in suburban areas, who are detached from the base of the African National Congress, which is the black communities, and particularly the rural communities of the province of KwaZulu-Natal, Limpopo, Free State, and other provinces within the country, the Eastern Cape as well. We have seen the president of the ANC going to KwaXimba, which is in the outskirts, the rural parts of the eThekwini municipality. You've seen him coming here, KwaNgqolosi. Now he's also going now to Hammarsdale, Eqiweni, which is a VD that is largely rural in Hammarsdale as well. So we're essentially taking the ANC back to the base of the people, the downtrodden, the people that they seek to alleviate poverty from, the people they seek to rescue from the triple challenges of poverty, inequality, and underdevelopment, whom are largely receiving the African National Congress very well. I was largely reminded when the people of KwaNgqolosi were singing Ramaphosa si urata kaofela, reminded of the words of former President Jacob Zuma when he said that I didn't know that people in eThekwini can speak Sesotho. For instance, if you were to take Nazareth, where we were in Nazareth yesterday, where a Sesotho-speaking woman spoke to the president of the African National Congress, and he was startled himself that this particular woman was engaging with him in Sesotho, where he may have thought this particular woman or voter may have engaged him in isiZulu. And that tells you of how South Africa is a diverse nation, where you find each and every tribe or Sesotho-speaking, Xhosa-speaking person everywhere in the country, even where people are perceived to be a largely Zulu-dense area, you do find Sesotho-speaking people as well.